This is actually the unveiling. Once you know, you cannot unknow. People that were used to say, oops, I didn't know it, are in the position of understanding what's the cost of, oops, I didn't know it. I think each individual is a healer and it has its own healing powers, and people that are facilitating this are just there to remember that in one way or another. We are moving from separation to healthy individuation. To know healthy individuation, it is to know who you are with your needs, with your capabilities, with what you are. Separation, on the other hand, puts us in another basket. Alignment means it is to have the same thing in your thoughts, the same things that are expressing from your mouth, and the same things that are happening in your heart or in your feelings.
And actions.
This is me unified. I have, it's everything, it's in the same frequency. Awareness is the key of evolution, of healing, of our trajectory in this life.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Awareness Club podcast. I would like to start the episode today to thank each one of you for being part of our community as we are arriving to our first milestone of having 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. And with this occasion, I'm inviting each one of you that are looking now to subscribe, to get in our community, and to be active into putting questions, starting discussions, and letting us know what you think or how we can improve. Let's make this community flourish together. Now, my guest today, it's one of the co-founders, and it's a great opportunity for me as well to start a beautiful discussion that I want to have for a while. I would describe her as a person who is always in touch with people, who is warm, who is attracting people around her, and is a natural healer. She is a coach, and she is also helping people through different techniques or just putting a nice word on their evolutionary path. I'm having with me Alina. Anghel.
Hello, and thank you very much for this beautiful description. It's very kind. I appreciate. And I hope to be able to remain in the high standards that you have described me. Thank you. It's a pleasure as well to be here.
Yeah. I would like to firstly ask you, how do you see your professional path as a coach?
It's very interesting that you put this question now or in this part of my life. I think being a coach was something that I have wanted to help, but I think I managed to help myself the most, or everything started from there. I don't think just coaching describes what I'm using today. It is a part of it. It was a journey, and it nourished a part of me that needed structure. But I realized that if I quit the structure, what remained is a beautiful flow and a beautiful connection with people. And I think I have nourished that before becoming a coach. And this was just a permission slip to allow myself to work with people or to engage in intimate conversations and be there and hold a space that can help them open in safety towards whatever their subconscious were in that particular moment offering as a being processed information or material. And what I loved about, I still love about it, is that most of the times, whatever the subject, that it has a tiny resonance in myself as well. So it's always an exchange. And I don't think there is, you used the term healer. I think each individual is a healer and it has its own healing powers, and people that are facilitating this are just there to remember that in one way or another.
And also I'm remembering that nobody is a healer actually. You're a facilitator for the person to heal himself.
Exactly. This is exactly it. Regardless if it's coaching, if it's psychology, if it's EFT, if it's psychosomatic, if it's trauma release, you can name it. If it's even going to the priest or to medicine healer, shaman, and so on, everybody, it's actually with different, obviously, ways of approaching the person or the situation of a person. They are just actually creating something. If somebody comes and tell you, I will heal you from this, there is something where we should not go. Unless it's a surgeon that does a brain surgery that without it you can just die. Voila.
I have in mind a journey that we will start together. But before that, I would like to enter a little bit into your professional life and all the tools that you are gathering through the years. And I will start with emotional freedom technique that you just mentioned. Until now, we didn't have a person to describe this. So what is EFT?
Well, EFT, it's as well another tool. It's a permission slip for a person to open a space with the other person or the other people around in which the subconscious gets some messages. In this particular case, the tapping, because it's called as well the tapping solution or emotional freedom technique, it uses the meridians, the energetic meridians, combined with a form of neuro-linguistic programming, I would say. It has a very beautiful base. It's about love, acceptance, and forgiveness, which are key elements in any processing of a situation. First, you have to accept it, see it, look at it as it is. Then you have to see whom to forgive. If it's the case, this is sometimes a very big word. And then to start loving whatever that was and everything that is. So overall, it's a very beautiful technique through which we can extract, based on a starting point, the root of something. It's a phobia, it's maybe a limiting belief, it can be even a trauma. I think to work with EFT, with big traumas, it needs more than that a bit. And it's about probably a presence, a specific presence. But you can address everything, from a limiting belief to a headache, to a spider phobia that has behind God knows what, and even to very deep traumatic life events. But yeah, overall, we access the subconscious, we expose the situation, we retrieve some information from there, maybe even some somatic releases, then we test again to see what is on a scale from 0 to 10, the feeling, the real feeling in the body. So it's as well a bit somatic because you can feel in the body that particular thing. And then if it's not decreasing enough, actually you can work with it until, let's say it starts at 10, and then you can downgrade it to whatever the person feels comfortable to live with. You don't have to really eliminate it to go to 0. Sometimes maybe a little bit of fear of spiders is good if you go to Amazonia and you meet a venomous tarantula. Voila.
We were practicing this and
Yes.
you were helping me many times with it.
Yes.
And I know the process, but I would like for you to give some guidelines to people, maybe just simple tapping and how this works and how they can use tapping on a daily basis when they're encountering something.
Very interesting. Well, I would use tapping as a form of reattuning the system. You can just check if something is blocked or not. You can try to do some breathing. Try to see if the air goes fully in and you are able to let it fully out. So you check by breathing, the diaphragm, how it is. And then if it's a little bit contracted and the breath is not going up to the full capacity of the lungs, then it might be the case that there is a fear, contraction, anxiety, something happening. So I would address just the points. Now, you see, there are so many videos and there are so many ways of doing it that I think in the end, after you understand the process, you can just do it yourself. So probably one of the main points, it is called the karat point, which is this one. And it's usually the most used while you assess or address the situation. So for example, let's say, even if I don't breathe very well right now, right, because we don't breathe very well, we understand that there is a tension there. I love myself, I accept myself, I love myself, and I forgive myself. Or actually, sometimes the order matters. Or not. This is the beauty of EFT. You just allow to see what is happening, and later on the process you can put it. Because it makes sense, I accept myself, I forgive myself, and I love myself. But sometimes the words don't want to come out just like that. So you just let it be. As they come out. Eventually, the point is to arrive at the end to say it at least once in that order. And then you use the points. So it's, I will not name all the points, but it's this one, then it's this one, this one, this one, this one. And then you have, it's between the bone of the clavicle and the sternum. I will try not to beat too hard so not to hit the microphone. There is one on the side. And then you have all the fingers on the corner of the nails, except this one. This one you do it here. I don't know I can't explain why, but it is the way it is. So you assess, you said to the subconscious, although I don't breathe very well right now, I accept myself, I forgive myself, and I love myself. And all those, this is the beautiful part.
I wanted to complete, but I'll let you to continue.
And all those that without knowledge or with knowledge, they contributed to my incapacity to breathe properly of whatever the number. And then we are just saying, not breathing properly, not breathing properly, not breathing properly. So we take into in the subconscious the idea that I am not breathing. That after I do a full round, I just stop and I just breathe. And this is the way in which you're signaling the whole system, and you press all the points by seeing if there is any blockage. So you basically remove the blockage of not breathing, and then you're just breathing. And usually, if you try this, after you finish, you can breathe.
And then if you just feel that it went from 10 to 8, you continue with another round.
You could continue with another round, but I think that here, to arrive in this point, you really have to practice at least this part, which is the most simple part. Because normally there is another set of another procedure that is associated with it, which is the 9 actions. And those you can do it properly or easier with somebody on the side, because you have to stimulate the both hemispheres, you have to sing, you have to count, you have to look, to do the circle with the eyes, turn back. So basically you try to activate all the brain, all the areas of the brain in order to participate to this rewriting of the event. So yeah, this is just briefly, but yeah.
Good technique. What other techniques are you using?
Probably the most used technique that I'm not necessarily using during my encounters with people, but I highly recommend to every human being on this earth, and I spoke about it as well before, it's heart coherence breathing. There is nothing more important than to relax the diaphragm, than to relax the whole body into being able to breathe properly, to breathe correctly, to decrease the cortisol levels, to just, and become present. This is actually the beautiful result of this. You become present.
How do you do it?
Well, you just intake for 5 seconds, exhale for 5 seconds. Do this for 5 minutes and that's it. And there are tons of videos that can support that. We can even do our own video that shows that, but I think there are already so many. So it's just this, you have a 5 seconds bubble that goes up in which you just take in the air, then you follow the bubble, you take out the air. So that's it, nothing more complicated. And in all this time, you're just trying to just sit, just as as I am sitting right now. So to have the feet on the ground, to feel the chair, it's a form of grounding, of embodying yourself by feeling held in a space. So I'm sitting here, I'm calm, I'm looking around, there is no danger. So I inform my nervous system, hello, everything is fine. Let's transmit that thing. So the vagus nerve transmits to the rest of, okay, it's rest and digest time. We are just breathing, we are oxygenating. Life can be marvelous. Basically, that's it. And it's scientifically proven to be one of the most beautiful and easiest way to downregulate ourselves, to be present, and to calm down the heart and decrease the cortisol levels.
You were mentioning just now grounding. What is grounding for you?
Grounding for me, it's some concept that it was very hard to understand and to implement, I would say. Obviously, but for the context of it, in 2023, I found out that I'm not really grounded. So I did not understood what means to be grounded at that time. I believe that if you're having your feet on planet Earth due to gravity, you are grounded, right? And actually, no. It's living in that semi-form of dissociation in which most of the time you are not there. So this is the ungrounded version, right? And then you just realize that it's true and that from that state you don't perceive very well the life as it is. You're living basically in a fantasy, a world in which you subtract yourself from the suffering that you're not willing to deal with in order to evolve in life. And I received a very beautiful grounding practice from a lady called Tatiana. And she told me, every day when you wake up, you just raise your hands towards east and you just stay like that. And you just imagine how you grow roots from your feet and from your root chakra. And then how the sun, it's putting light into your hand chakras. And this is how you receive energy from earth and from the sky. She said to do it for 3 minutes. After 1 minute, my hands were completely numb. I was not able to stay. I was not able to do it. Now I am able to do it. So it's as well a very interesting thing about what you're actually up to do or you don't want to do. But now grounding, it's something else. It's a multitude of things that I have discovered that are helping me or that are very easy for me or natural to me. And obviously we have food that is very grounding because it's nourishment of life in the brute force. And every time I eat, and you can, and as well people that are smoking are as well trying to ground themselves because you put some air into, you can do it through breathing techniques, right? You don't have to use it, but anyways, everybody with its own trajectory and so on. So you can eat, you can drink, especially things that are warm. You can sense. For me, it's very nice to feel different types of textures. And one of the most beautiful things is to be in nature, to walk barefoot, to feel the water, to feel the grass, to touch a tree, to touch an animal, a bird, a child, another human being. All these things are grounding.
So grounding is the process of becoming present?
For me, yes. Usually when I'm referring to that, it's bringing myself from the mind and from the future or the past. And I love, we had Emir here that he was saying very beautifully, if you have sorrow, you're in the past. If you have anxiety or fear, you're in the future. Find your way where you're present, which is in the here and now, the eternal now. So yeah, for me, grounding, it's the practice through which I am settling back into myself, into my body, and I become aware of life, not escaping in different directions. And yeah, when I realize I sleep, I use something. I make myself a tea, I drink a coffee, I take a bite of something. If I'm outside, I'm putting my feet on the ground or feeling a texture or breathing.
Let's go to a different topic that is very dear to you. What is multidimensional music?
Wow. Wow, this is something. I don't think there is a bigger fan. No, I'm joking. Probably for sure there are a lot of people that are loving this kind of music,
But you are one of them.
but I'm a
Fan
fan.
for sure.
I'm a fan, 110%. I'm a fan. Yes, I have discovered multidimensional music 1 year and a few months ago. So last year in spring, because of Anna. And since then, I have not necessarily daily, but bi-daily, let's say. What is multidimensional music, or the music of Jacquot Cholet, particular because she's the only one that I have experienced, so I cannot talk of nothing else except her work. In her creations, I understood that, or felt that her music, it has a particular resonance or frequencies that when you listen very actively, which means headsets, diminish as much as possible all the other senses and probably even lay down. For me, this works. This is how it works, actually. And just paying attention, this is meditation, right? Pay attention on only one thing, and that is your only thing that you're paying attention. If your mind slips, come back. So basically, this is the principle. I go and I listen. At the beginning, it was quite difficult to listen. I was not used to meditation, as you were even back then. But for me, this was the first form of meditation. And because of the frequencies and the sounds in this music, there is a whole universe of emotions, of memories, of senses, of things that are running through the body and through the mind. The variety of the internal world, or my internal world, I was able to discover it because of this music. So it was my exploration of my inner world through this music. And it was, and it is, still is, absolutely impressive. And recently I've seen this very renowned pianist, May, I forgot the second name, her last name, that is as well a neuroscientist. And she actually proved that music is healing, and that we know that for over 4,000 years or so. So through the history, music was always healing. The problem is to what we listen. If we listen to whatever, then that is what is happening, that is what is triggering inside of us. It has a frequency, it has a resonance, so it's triggering something. We never know what, but it does. So this is the multidimensional music. It's a curated form of exploration, of frequencies, of emotions, of states. And probably one of my biggest realizations on this journey was the achievement of a specific state. I was able to arrive, and I had no idea what I was doing, but this is what happened. I arrived at the threshold between the conscious and the subconscious. In the first times, I was not able to retrieve almost anything from that moment. I mean, it was having a narrative, something was happening, it was very clear what was happening, but I was not able to come back with nothing. It went away, disappeared, just like a dream that goes in a second. And I realized that what I was actually entering, it's called Nidra yoga. And I was very surprised. I was very tired, and after 1 hour of this meditation, I was able to do whatever I wanted to do for the whole day without adding anything, no added sugar or coffee or tain or something to support that. But not only that, and I think you know a part of them, a lot of vision from past lives, images, not visions, images from past lives, from, let's say, childhood events, maybe I would say even some extraterrestrial presence, but which I have not seen, not confirmed, but it was definitely a feeling that was out of everything that I have ever experienced. And then I found out that Jacques Cholet actually created this music while channeling the Arcturians, which are masters of sound healing.
This might sound like a crazy topic for a lot of people, but it's information that is out there and that a lot of people are resonating with, and that there are a lot of people that are even channeling different type of entities that they are supposing that they are extraterrestrials or beings or other dimensions.
Yeah, we have Bashar, and not only, like, plenty. It's
and also you are using AI to interpret what you are having there, which is great to have these assistants that are helping a lot with processing the information.
Yes, probably if I wouldn't had the AI to process part of the information that I was receiving, I wouldn't have been able to advance. I wouldn't have found out that the state that actually I'm going to, it's called Nidra Yoga, what it's happening there, and what can you do actually when you arrive in that state. And I think you were speaking this with about this with Elena, that she is actually practicing Nidra Yoga. And it's exactly about that. You arrive to a moment of full relaxation when actually you are in between worlds. The beautiful part is, or probably why it has such a huge impact on me and why I have so much recommended it to so many people, it is because it was so hard for my body and my mind to relax that probably only a hot bath was doing it, but it was not the same as going to that state. So yes, so it helped me down-regulate, calm down, relax my body, feel my body, feel what's happening when those sounds were hitting. I felt, I went into all kind of emotions there, to anger, to crying, so it's vast. It's vast.
Now that we were starting this episode by speaking about tools, now I would like to pass to the personal aspect. And in the Awareness Club, we are speaking about the elevation path. And that moment in time when we realize that we want to dedicate the life to ourselves, because you cannot make a better world if you do not start with yourself. So I would like to ask you, how do you find yourself on the evolutionary path today?
I think we are filming this at exactly the right moment. In the sense that, I was telling you at one point that the evolutionary path has a trajectory, then it stops, then it has another probably trajectory, or because the evolution for humans can't be very linear or very direct. We need some steps, let's say, where everything is flat so that we can take everything in and do something with that growth that happened. It is probably like in gym. You just go exercise, but then you need to eat properly, sleep properly, so that the body is able to move forward for the next day. And I think I am right now in this moment when I have discovered most of the things that were needed to be discovered. I'm not saying that they are finished, right? We don't go there. But for sure, there is need of a plateau where from here, I just take what I have learned, I take my practices, and probably this is the best thing that happened to me. I learn and I have some proper tools to take care of my nervous system, of my, the mental hygiene thing, and as well of my body, and to be present in myself and in life, which were the things that were probably the most deficiency in my case. So right now, my evolutionary path, it's in practicing a few things that are maintaining, that are stabilizing maybe a new frequency. maybe, for sure, a new frequency. For sure, a new frequency.
And what was the moment when you realized that you need to make a switch in your life?
I realized many times I needed to make a switch in my life. I had never had the courage until one moment. And that moment was 2023, with this lady that said, well, it looks like you're not very grounded. You're quite far away. Would you like to ground yourself? And I said, this is good for me. Yes. And I said, okay, let's do that. And then I cried for 3 weeks. And I realized that my life, and especially around our kids, was not at all where I wanted to be. That I still have fears, that I am so afraid of what happens if if the kids will see me in that state of extreme fear and panic that I never tried to face. And I still was not ready to see, and I still was not ready to embark, but I felt somewhere inside that whatever is happening, it's happening for the good of my evolution. And I said yes. I didn't know on what I'm embarking, but it was clearly a specific moment, June 2023. That was a start.
Considering a person that it is now at that point of making a change, what would you tell him?
Trust the process. As a cliche as it sounds, even if I would tell you, not you, but any person with which I'm speaking, if you say trust the process, it literally says nothing. Go step by step. Nothing. It's actually nothing. You can just transmit a state. Wherever it happens for a reason. Just be there for yourself. Show up for yourself. Take the courage to leap, to take that jump into yourself and discover the world that it's inside. And the moment you make a pact only with yourself, to be truthful to yourself, to be honest with yourself, so that you can mirror this back to the world, for me, this was the changing point. So I said yes, a lot of drama, not to call it otherwise. And then at one point, I even remember the person that triggered that in me. It's Marta Beck. When I said, well, all this, it's happening for one reason. Because what if I decide right now to be honest with myself? And I allowed myself to be 1% honest with myself. And it was impressive.
What this means more exactly because people can say that I'm honest with myself.
I was honest with myself not being.
So more exactly, what does that mean?
What does it mean to be honest with yourself?
Yeah. More than people think they already are.
Yes. When I had the courage to be honest with myself, I was, it was for very simple, mundane things. Do you really want to have this cup of tea because you need it, or because this is what we do here? Can I have, let's say you're drinking alcohol, right? Wine, something that you drink on a casual meetup with friends, or anyways. You go out in the city, right? And you drink something, everything is around alcohol. Because people loosen up. They are able to become more of who they are with alcohol on board. So it is what it is, I was there. So otherwise I wouldn't said it this way. So it was normal. It was a protocol. It was a permission to start enjoying ourselves. So when I was thinking, do I really like to have this glass right now, or I would drink something else? No, it was like, what, are you sick? I don't want to smoke, but every time I see people smoking around, I feel like smoking as well. then what do you want to do? Do you want to stay with your friends and smoke, or do you want to spend your time alone because you don't want to smoke? You know, this is a tough choice, because you know that if you are in an, it's all, you know, the
Belonging.
belonging, yes, belonging. Then it's the couple thing. You know, you're tired as hell, you just want to go to bed, and the loved one said, "Oh, let's see a comedy show. It's going to be fantastic. Come on, let's detend a bit after this hard day. You know, let's say us." And I would say, like, no, actually, I would love to go to sleep. You know, it takes some courage when you are, but this is from one side, right? There is as well the other side, the ones that are imposing, that they try to control, or they try to please or not please, from the other side of the thing. So for me, honest was about understanding what are my true needs. What do you really need? What do you really want? And I thought that I am honest, you know, but I was not. I realized even probably 1 year after that there are still layers in which I have enclosed myself for the fear of not losing belonging, of not losing societal leveling or acceptance or so on, or expectation, societal expectation. This is impressive how hard it is, because maybe you just want to go to the countryside and stay with the chickens, you know, or with the plants, or do nothing that it's so fancy and important. It's not neuroscience. You know, I wanted to have a neuroscience project. I don't want anymore, because I wanted to show, it's not that I don't love neuroscience. I love neuroscience. I feed myself in neuroscience, but actually I don't need to show to the whole world that I love neuroscience. It's okay just to consume it. This is actually honesty. Why do I need that? Do I need because it's really needing inside, it's feeding a part of myself, it's nourishing me in a way, it responds to a true need, or it responds to something that it's the expectation or the construct or the conditioning of the external world from where I respond. It's knowing from which place your need arises, for your personal nourishing need or for a need of the exterior world.
So it's a true personal discovery. And for you started like this. What it uncovered?
What it uncovered?
Yes, as other steps afterwards.
It uncovered that my biggest desires in life were responding to an external world, and that only now I'm really starting to know myself. As strange as that sounds. So I wanted to do, it's not that I'm not good, for example, at, let's say, I wanted to do psychology, to have a diploma, to work as a psychologist. But why I wanted to work as a psychologist? Because I needed to be recognized by people that what I can do and offer in the space that I'm offering, it's proven, it's validated, it's there. So then I realized, but do you really want to be a psychologist and do all that years when you know for sure that you are not going to use nothing from there, because you already use everything that you needed on your trajectory to arrive to do coaching in the way you do and everything. And I said, yes, no, I don't want to do that. I totally don't want to do that. And 2 years ago, I was just crazy about this idea. I wanted to become that. It was not my true desire. It was just me finding a way to put myself on the same etiquette and levels as the society demands.
If you're not referencing your actions to the external world, if you don't compare yourself, if you don't position yourself, if you don't take in consideration the structure of this society, into, for example, being a psychologist, as you said. How do you build your life also being a presence in your society?
There is a discovery process. And in this process of discovering myself, I found out for the moment what are the things that I for sure don't want to pursue because they were there because of this need. Now, I allow myself to understand to which trajectory I want to go, and they do not fulfill the vision of the society, but rather the vision of myself. As I was so far away for so much time from myself and from what I want and from what I don't want, basically, it is a process that recently started. It feels like a 0 point. I know what are my passions. I still love almost the same things. I just don't want to achieve the same things. As I was giving the example with neuroscience.
Or diploma.
Or diploma, right? So I still love those things, but I have liberated myself from the pressure that I should go forward and study this and transform it into a profession.
So what goals remain?
To meet every day with the most of presence that I am able, to allow myself to feel what it has to be felt, and to connect as much with the people that I encounter, and to not block, to allow to feel, basically. And to continue my activities as they are, but with this kind of awareness, with this kind of mindset and presence. Because a mindset, it's a one thing, the presence, it's the another thing.
So this as well, it's a definition of losing completely the control of your life and trusting the process or having faith, however you want to call it.
Yes.
How mentally you can support that while we are living in a world with a lot of demands still?
I think for me, one of the most important things was to cut the stimuli. So if you don't eliminate, I don't want, it's a lot of things. You have to cut social media. You have to cut, what I did, I cut it social media. I cut it since 2010. We cut it television. So here it's not a question about that. And I don't have people to tell me things about myself. There are most of the times you always have some people around you say, wow, you should do this, you should do that, you do this great, here you're not so good, and all this kind of
Noise.
This is noise. You cut the noise. For me, I went back through this multidimensional music, through this internalized exploration of the inner world, and I have allowed myself to feel, which is very overwhelming for a person that anyways feels a lot. To feel others, it was quite easy, but to feel myself, it was quite something.
And you are feeling people since I know you, since ever. And
Since ever.
And people were attracted by your energy, and they were coming around you. They were looking for your hug or for your support, or
they were looking for. Sorry for interrupting. They were looking for the survivor, the savior. I heard you speaking about the dramatic triangle. I was attracting people that needed to be saved.
You don't anymore?
No.
You don't attract people that need.
No, I don't think so. I still have to explore, as the circle is still quite restricted. I feel that what I am putting now goes more towards people that want to experience a truthful presence, not a savior. What is the difference? The difference is that a savior does not question the dilemma, the problem, the aggression of the other. The idea is that my current position says the truth. of whatever it is that it's felt in the interaction. And this stops a bit the bond that can be created. Oh, I understand you. Yes, and I do. And I do feel what they feel. But in the same time, I can say, yes, but maybe in the future you will understand the other side too. And that could be beneficial for the relationship healing process. So that stops a bit I'm no longer entering unconsciously into
role play.
It's done the role play. When you resign from from being an actor in your life and you start living a bit, it's no longer role playing. It's like, yeah, totally. You feel the suffering, you feel the struggle. I feel everything, but I don't have the instinct. Where is the aggressor? I will save you anyway, or I will. There is a certain. It's like I think this is maturity actually called.
Earlier, you were speaking about mental or emotional hygiene, and I know that you are promoting this concept. What is it?
Well, mental hygiene, it's that part of our daily routine, just like dental hygiene, morning and evening, decent 2 times a day, 2 minutes each time, is the same. The mental hygiene, it's now, I would call it, into a spiritual ritual. That was the dimension that it was before this part of my life. But it's actually putting an emphasis on the relationship with the self and in processing whatever that happened during the day. Now, I would add to that the morning routine, which is an opening of the self to the world, right? We are coming from the dreams. We need to fully embody. Sometimes we remain in dreams. God knows when we come back fully. So a grounding ritual is needed in which we just welcome the day and ourselves into the body and ourselves into the world, remembering that we are safe. This is my personal case. And thanking gravity that it's keeping me with my feet on the ground so that I can move into this world feeling safe. This is part of my actual ritual. And then in the evening, I like to revisit a bit if there are events during the day that I did not process properly. They are popping, that's form of rumination. So when you have a brain that it's used to rumination, even if you want to go to sleep, things are coming and they are set up. No, not settled yet. So here you are, you're revisiting the same thing and so on. So I am downregulating myself with either a breath, with either some multidimensional music, and then I address those events from another perspective that I had until that moment. So for example, if I had an argument, not even an argument, but an exchange in which I felt something that was, I don't know, a discomfort, like I really put that question. If I didn't have the chance to do it then or feel it then, I do ask the question, why did you feel discomfort then? What emotion was there that wanted to show up and you couldn't, or you were not able to let it be there present? And most of the times I have arrived to this kind of honesty with myself in which the answer comes and is very beautiful and clear. And sometimes it's not necessarily painful, but it's not about it. No, all the time is not about the other. It's always about something that it's either in my present or in my past, or it's a projected fear from the future.
Or it's not mine.
It can be that it's not mine, but that it's something else. After an exchange, after I share the space with somebody, and you know that, I can feel different things, like in the chest, in the stomach, maybe around the head, and I have learned when I feel something to question it if it's mine or not. So if I feel some tension around the chest area, then I will just sit for a second and I will ask, is this feeling that I have around my chest mine or does it belong to somebody around me? And then I continue to say, if it's mine, I want to understand why, or to feel the full length of the emotion and then process it. But if it's not mine, I would like to start releasing it in this moment. And if it's mine, it stays. If it's not mine, it literally goes away. So this is called empathy. I did not discover the wheel or something. And this is happening to all of the people. They enter a room and they don't know why they feel tensed all out of the sudden. Or they don't know why they feel something in their stomach. Because somebody probably bears a lot of guilt or a lot of shame into that room and they're resonating. Or around the chest area, or God knows, depends on the people's sensibility, about their attunement, about a lot of things. But yeah, so as well, this is a nice thing to do. If you go home and you still have something after you went into a crowded or you exchanged with somebody something and you feel something, it's very good to question. Actually, this is being aware. In the end, this is the process. That's why the Awareness Club, that's why it's so important to be aware. With awareness, basically, you can find out everything about yourself that it's important. What is not important, we should not really spend the time trying. So it's not good. It took me a lot of energy and time that I wanted to investigate what happens in others' lives. And that's not my business.
You were just mentioning awareness in the healing process. Mm-hmm. How much is awareness responsible for moving forward?
I think it's the only element. It's literally the only element. Awareness is the key of evolution, of healing, of our trajectory in this life. Even when we speak about aliens, right? You cannot be aware of something that you don't have a concept of. So yes, being aware and finding your way of being aware, it's very important. In the end, awareness and consciousness, they go very well together. And we cannot be aware of things until we have at least a concept of it or a discovery or something. And I was recently watching Pam Gregory interviewing Alan Clay. Both of them are astrologers. And he was very beautifully describing how consciousness evolves when people become aware of different stuff. Obviously, taking in consideration its astrology, he was saying, look at the last 200 years since we discovered Neptune, Pluto, and Saturn. In the last 200 years, their consciousness and everything they represent since they were discovered, they literally changed the society and the world as we know it. And now there are multiple other asteroids, dwarf planets, and so on, like Ixion, Sedna, and so on. And they were saying, until there is, and this is the thing with awareness, until you don't become aware of something, the consciousness cannot evolve. So awareness is the main element, let's say.
So awareness itself is shaping our life, it's shaping our healing, it's shaping our perspective, limiting beliefs, and everything else. So this is exactly the journey that I wanted to start with you from the beginning of the podcast, but we had a buffer into personal and professional life. And now I would like to discuss with you this trajectory and the discovery process that we are having together since 2009. There are 17 years of inquiry, of
3 lives.
In your life, everything started with a book that your mom was giving, and that was the starting point up to this moment when you have all these podcasts and all these practitioners and specialists that we are even inviting to the Awareness Club. Let's go into the perspective of how do you see life today, and let's start from macro to micro.
From macro to micro.
Yes. Let's start with God and singularity. How would you describe?
God and singularity evolved in my perception a lot. From God being the old man with the beard that is standing there to judge you based on what you have done in this life, to this one consciousness, space, God, all existence, source, and you understand the idea, you can put whatever the name. I call it sometimes the existence itself, whatever that is, because there is, otherwise it wouldn't be. That it does not represent that limited in the box. It's actually everything. It's freedom, it's love, it's joy, it's power, it's roughness, it's everything. So involves the concept, involves energy, involves matter, involves everything. So this is my current perception of the creator, of the source. It's all that is, ever was, and ever will be. But what I have beautifully learned or remembered, because there is a part that it was a remembrance, and for that I'm so grateful, because I felt liberated from a lot of suffering after. It was this realization that we are here right now in this form, and that is temporary, and this is not what we are, all that we are. And until I have not made this switch, everything felt heavy, terrible, suffering. Why? The victim position. Life was happening to me, it was not me life living. And even now, I still have moments when I remember different layers of my own limitation because of the way how I perceived the world. I remember myself around 5 years or 4 years or so looking at the stars and saying, I know there is much more light and sparkle than what I can see here. So that is for sure not a child's mind, but rather a form of consciousness that realize the density, the darkness, or whatever it is that this dimension and world was, especially at that time. I was looking and I said, there is more shine. There is something that has to sparkle more beautiful than this, and I can't find it in this world. And many other different moments that now when I connect, I understand why I felt so limited. Now I still feel as limited. I still don't see, but this is the thing. I don't have to see because I have embarked in this journey to experience this thing. And this happened actually after I started grounding. You know, when you accept that this is it and you're not trying to escape because this is too painful, everything here actually becomes more beautiful. And I always saw the world very beautiful.
And also it takes also the responsibility out.
Yes, it's the world, it's the family, it's the friends, it's the society, it's this and it's that. And when you overpass, let's say, the most part of the conditioning and the traumatic events that are literally there for helping you cross that border from being a person that happened that to that person to a person that actually don't associate with the trauma, with that life event, with that conditioning, it transforms literally the perspective of life. And I think that it's happening mostly because of lifting above a bit, not lifting above like gaining superiority, but rather understanding that the most spiritual and profound thing is to live life as it is. As I no longer search enlightenment, as I feel that the true enlightenment, it is literally to live life with its mundane tasks, cooking, shopping, doing the things around the house so that you can cook or go cook grow your vegetables, cook your meals, learn about neuroscience, do everything that you want to experience that you do. And actually, when you go from that deeper place, you realize that you actually don't want to do as many things as you believed, or at least this is totally my case, that I was believing I have to do. It's like, when you do, I don't know the name, it is that instrument in which you put flour before cooking a dough in order to make it fluffy. And everything that it's rough and unpleasant remains there. So this is a form of process. This is how I would put awareness. Awareness, it is this instrument through which what's yours goes there, what's not yours remain here, so that you can just throw it away. And you remain with the good stuff, with the thing that make you grow. Because I like dough, which grows. It's probably one of the metaphors that I like.
We arrived very fast from the divine to the human being and to your person. Let's see, how do you see humanity?
I see humanity as a teenager that was hit by hormones and life itself. And that it's trying to, it was a traumatized teenager that had been through a lot.
Rebellious.
Rebellious, but more afraid than rebellious. I think the rebellion just now starts. And the rebellion, it's in the individual, not it's in the collective through the individual. And that has to, like Buddha, has to face the suffering of the world and stop, just like me, living into that fantasy world. The world should be like this, and it should be more like this, and it should be like this, and it should be totally like this. And this is not good because I don't like it, because it's make me suffering. So Buddha actually enlightened after he accepted the good, the joy, the good, and the suffering of the world.
I know that also an important book, it was Loving What Is.
Yes, from Byron Katie. Yes, I think that making peace with life as it is and seeing it through the lens of opportunity rather than scarcity. And when I say opportunity, it's opportunity to grow. Like why is this happening to me, and why I feel rejected when that person says that thing, or why do I feel fear when I encounter that situation, and so on. So basically, it's a very beautiful process. She has the work called a booklet in which you inquire yourself about the truthfulness of your thought. Is it absolutely true that Bogdan is in this moment rejecting you? Maybe it is just vice versa, And you am I actually rejecting Bogdan in this moment? And then, you realize that, like, what? Why is this happening? And it's bringing you closer to a truth that you don't want to see. So it's putting yourself actually mirroring. What you say about the other could be actually true about yourself. So being able to see all the facets of a problem, or to lift yourself and see the perspective of all the possibilities, and then choose, why do I feel towards you and why do I feel towards myself? That's a very beautiful way to be aware. But it's as well, you see, it's as well about being aware.
Why people are not doing it? It's a choice, or it's painful?
It's painful. It's painful. When the Epstein files arrived, mass suffering. It's mass suffering. Everybody who saw that suffered. And suffered because suffering through empathy comes back here. But if you're mature enough and empathic enough to understand and how to support, you no longer just suffer. You choose a state. It's okay to be empathic. Otherwise, we would not evolve. But pain.
Don't associate.
Yes, and there is this thing. Pain, it's inevitable, but suffering, it's a choice. And here it's 100% true.
We were discussing in the past years about predispositions. How do you see predispositions as a function that is influencing our lives?
Now, depends on what kind of predispositions, right? Because you can use different systems from gene keys, human design, astrology, numerology, and these ones are new. To even you go medical, right? And you have the genes, which are a predisposition. But we know epigenetically that even a gene, it's expressing or not because of the environment. That's why it's epigenetics. Basically, the predispositions are a potentiality, but they are not the only potentiality. And this is what I love right now about astrology and what Pam Gregory describes. She said, I prefer to give less possibilities, just clues, because when you put possibilities, you already draw some lines of potential outcome. But when you just put some seeds there, you just take it and you grow with it, regardless the situation. So predispositions are amazing. They are there. I have tried all the systems, psychological tests and profiles and so on, all lead in my case to the same kind of profile and thing, which was, you read something, you're not very pleased. You recognize yourself, but you hope for better or something like that. And you go to the next one. Interesting. And you go to numerology and you say, oh my God. And you go then, okay, this is bullshit. It's not okay. Let's go to psychological tests. And you start to Enneagram and all these kind of tests, Big Five. I did even Jordan Peterson's course about Discover Personality. So I tried on my journey everything in having the idea that I will discover something marvelous about me that is going to make me special.
Then galactic.
And then galactic astrology. So yes. And it's in your face. You don't want to see it. You knock on every other door to find out a different response. And until you're ready to accept, which was my case, I was not ready to accept my true nature. I was sure that it must be something more special, more amazing than what I feel or than what I
am thinking now, I don't think I thought of this before, but once you rise up in your frequency and you become more who you truly are, you are actually synchronizing with your true self and actually with all these systems. Because, for example, with astrology, I was listening. We are not speaking about any type of astrologers, but for example, Pam Gregory, which is an international name that is exceptional. Well, I was listening and I was not relating too much of the events that are happening, of what were the aspects of that period. But now everything seems so synchronized with the events in the life in my life, at least. So it's not anymore that the stars are predisposing and you act. It's not also, from the other hand, it's both sides, because everything is synchronized. No matter from what angle are you looking at the same reality. It's just if you are at the frequency when to understand or act accordingly, and you are not going against the flow. So in the end, I think that once we are becoming more of who we are more, as I was saying with the synchronicity theory, that once you align the individual consciousness, you are aligning also to the universal consciousness, because your alignment comes with everything else.
What you said makes perfect sense. I don't feel I have reached that much of a level. I no longer strive anyways. But I did understood something precious, alignment and dimensions, 3D and 5D. which could come very close to what you're explaining. For me, alignment, it was a very abstract concept in which I have to be aligned with my soul, or I have to be aligned with what the soul wants from me to experiencing, forgetting that I am the soul. I am the soul. The soul is speaking now through the human, but basically it's that happening. And what I realized that alignment means it is to have the same thing in your thoughts, the same things that are expressing from your mouth, and the same things that are happening in your heart or in your feelings. If it's coherence
and actions.
Yes, totally. Yes. So it's like a not holistic, unified.
Unified.
It's a this is me unified. I have it's everything, it's in the same frequency. There is not dissonance. I'm not thinking one thing, saying one thing, feeling one thing, and then doing another thing. You can even match 3 of them, but still if one of them is not in the same coherence with the other, it's a perturbed field. So this totally can be felt when you are around somebody. Now, the second thing that I wanted to share about it is the 5D, 3D kind of, it was so much spoken about, and I was like, wow, it's true, there is a big difference and so on. I understood it intellectually, but didn't have any clue of what that was or how that really translates. Yes, I understand that I have to go from fear-based action to a more safe, secure, love, and so on, but literally no clue. Until a few weeks ago, when after my work with acupuncture and magnetism with Emir and so on, a lot of things were coming in states about the past. And I was waking up, as you wake up with a state. And you are not really there to meet that state. Like, why? I think I overpassed that. I think I worked that maybe 1 year, 2 years ago. And even now, why it's still coming back? And I realized that going to 5D, it's the conscious act of choice of saying, this belonged to my past. Thank you for being here. Thank you for reminding me. My choice, it's to remember that in this moment I experience safety. Look around. I'm making myself a coffee. I'm going to eat something nice. How beautiful is life? The idea is that before I was trying to do that as well, but it was not working because the emotions were not processed. So this was just like a knock on the door, like the test. Did you really get rid of this? Well, when you are able to choose, it means that you processed it. Probably if you didn't, you go back. So this is how, for me, it's really literally, we can't stay in a state. Yes, we can stay in a state of safety because it's feeling safe and you can build from there. But when your nervous system, and in my case, my nervous system was so hijacked so many times, staying in an unbalanced or in a flight or fight response, in a functional freeze more precisely, then many times this safety can be masked by the system. And I think this is one of the most beautiful revelations that I had regarding this 3D and 5D on a personal level. I'm not speaking the consciousness, it's evolving, because I don't have that terms. But on an individual level, it really has to do a lot with being aware of what you feel and the awareness that you can transcend that state by choosing to let what belongs to the past be in the past and be present in the present moment with that goodness of life that you have. And plant a seed from there if you can.
And do you feel that this process that you are encountering now, it's an accelerated process that is happening for humanity now?
Yes.
So it's a real transition that as humanity is passing right now?
Yes. I don't have any doubt. I don't have any, when you say I don't have any doubt, it's quite a statement. But if that wouldn't be, you and me and a lot of others, we are crazy. I don't want to say as how, but we are totally out of our minds. So I doubt that we are out of our minds. I really believe that this current phase, it is actually the maturation of the rebellious, traumatized teenager into a healthy adult. It has a path. It has to look at the bad. It has to look at the suffering. It has to transcend it, to find who it is and what are its purposes. And we have the supposed alien contact. If we want to bring that on the table, why not? Because we have Bashar, and not only. And we have, actually, on the 8th of May, the government of USA released the first classified informations about the civilization. So it's an amazing time to be. I feel like a kid, in a good sense kid, that it's watching with enthusiasm how everything unfolds and grows, and that is really delightful.
But towards what? Because if we are looking into perspective of what is happening now in the world for a pragmatic person, it's not at all something that the world is transforming for the better.
Yeah, because it's a lot of chaos.
It always was. It's not something in particular. It was the Cold War, it was the World War I, World War II. It was, every time was something happening.
Yes, but you didn't have so many things on the plate as now. You have everything. I said aliens, right? I said the government of the United States stated that aliens that are classified files about other living organisms in this universe that were here in contact with us. So when I say everything, it's on the table. So if you take aliens from the side, you have AI, you have this, you have the political, geopolitical thing. Like I don't even want to go there, but it feels like the people that are leading the world are these traumatized teenagers that had some guns and had some tools to which they decided to play a game. And let's see who, in the American type, we have everything, it's a deal. Yes, this is how it feels for the president. Everything, it's a deal. I can deal with anything. 20%, no, 15%, 20%. Oh, I'm not allowed. 20% anyways. Like, what is that? And then we have Europe, an old lady with a lot of things to take away, to take off from its too much traditionalism. I learned something very precious at one point, that the world is shaped by two forces: conservatorism and I wouldn't say liberalism, but anyways, it's these two forces, that it's something that is very tradition and something that wants something new. And the world evolves by which of these two forces are at the leading position. And they are sometimes struggling, sometimes one of them is taking more. And now, I think that soon everybody will just let their tools, guns, whatever down, and we will see how we can evolve with both of this, with the awareness of this situation, and not to try to suppress the other, put the other in front, and so on. So we have everything.
And yet we are not all here on a path towards rising our frequency or evolve. We are maybe also people that are here to experience something else, or to play a different role, yes, or a different type of aspect of their potentiality.
this is actually the unveiling. Once you know you cannot unknow, that kind of thing. I think people that were used to say, oops, I didn't know it, are in the position of understanding what's the cost of, oops, I didn't know it. And that in itself brings us to another level, more or less. It's not about being good or bad. It's not about doing good things or bad things. It's really the times that we are living. It's be aware of your actions, because it's not impacting only you or the others. It's about everybody. And most likely, the ones that cannot let go, because, there is no duality. If there is only good, there is no duality if it's only bad. So the only way in which you maintain duality is by having these forces. I don't know if we are leading towards non-duality, but for sure, this is one of the purposes of this world, to arrive to a lower entropy in which harmony is based. I mean, this is this is the fifth dimension.
A bit utopic.
It's not utopic. I don't think, it's not that I don't think, I don't know in how much time that can be achieved, but for sure this is a goal, an unwritten goal, to lower entropy and to install harmony.
From the perspective of the people that are channeling other entities that is existing on other planets, if that is right.
Yeah. So this world, it's creating new rules. It's creating a new set. It's everything it feels, and it will be new in the sense, it's not that I know, but it is something that I feel that it's happening in a way that it overpasses my capacity of understanding or even prediction. But it stroked me into that thing, let the process unfold, because there is a huge transformation that you're witnessing. Just let it transform without trying to jump sides, or just witness it and be.
And exactly. And coming back to the individual, what can you do in this transformation?
First of all, or probably the most important, it is actually what made us create this club, the Awareness Club. It is the decision to have a look on who you are, why you are like that, and how are you influencing the world, and from where you live life. And if you're finding out that you're living life from the center of your essence, of your being, as Rupert Spira was saying, probably there would be no need for the 10 commands of Jesus. It would be something normal, or we wouldn't have laws, I wanted to say. We would have just some rules, guidelines for the better. So yeah, that's why I say it, and I still believe that it's the process of maturation in which all the things are set on the table. Have a look, see what you like, see what you don't like, and try to find harmony, first for yourself, so that you make sure you don't disturb the others, you don't harm the others. And then together with that, let's see what it can be created.
I share the same enthusiasm as you for the world that we are living now in these times. And yeah, it's so interesting to experience this process of internal transformation and to see how the lenses through which I see the world is so much changing.
Exactly. And I would call it, we are moving from separation to healthy individuation. To know healthy individuation, it is to know who you are with your needs, with your capabilities, with what you are. Separation, on the other hand, puts us in another basket. And this is the biggest difference. To understand that even if you don't feel that we are all one, if you arrive to have a healthy individuation, you already quitted the separation and you entered into a more beautiful dynamic of living life.
And now, because we arrived here, what is, in this moment of your life, the one message that you want to transmit to the world?
Let the world be. Just find out who you are. And just live life. It's short anyways. That's it.
Thank you so much for the discussion today. I enjoyed it deeply. Thank you for your presence. And thank you for being my wife.
Thank you for everything.
And I really hope to do this much more often, in front or in the back of the camera.
Amazing. Yes.
As for the rest of you, I hope you liked the episode today. I'm inviting you one more time to subscribe to our channel, to be part of our community, to like, to share, to comment, to be an active person that is complementing everything that we are doing here. And until next time, take care of yourself.